My name is Merritt Winslow, and I'm 29 years old. For 9 summers straight, my parents dropped me at my aunt's diner in June and left me there all summer, so my brother could have his elite science camp vacations. 9 years, 9 burned scars, 9 versions of the same lesson. The day I got that diner's deed, my car was already packed. By midnight, I was driving to another city, and they didn't know which one. It took them 7 years to find me, and when they finally did, standing in the middle of my restaurant headquarters down in Phoenix, my brother looked at everything I'd built, and the first thing out of his mouth told me he hadn't come all that way to apologize. He'd come all that way to steal something. Welcome back to Final Cosmic Stories, where quiet people finally get to tell the loudest chapters of their lives. If stories about family, boundaries, and starting over speak to you, drop a comment below and be sure to subscribe. Now, let me take you back to the summer I turned 14 and the blue suitcase that started absolutely everything. The air conditioner in my office makes a soft, steady humming sound. It is already 102 degrees outside, but inside boardroom 4 at the main office of the Copper Pan, the air is perfectly cool. The large oak table is polished and clean. A glass of ice water sits in front of me, little drops of water sliding down its sides. I slide a piece of white paper across the dark wood table. It is a standard job application for a daytime cashier at our downtown Phoenix branch. The requested hourly pay is $16.50. The name printed neatly at the top of the paper is Vance Winslow. He is sitting right across from me. He is my older brother. I look at his hands resting on the edge of the table. They are completely clean. His skin is soft, and his fingernails are perfectly cut. His hands have never touched a hot cast iron grill. They have never scrubbed burned cheese off a steel pan at midnight. I look down at my own hands. Near my left thumb, there is a faded white scar shaped like a crescent moon. On my right wrist, there is a small flat burn mark. Vance smiles at me. It is an easy, relaxed smile. He crosses his legs and leans back in the heavy leather chair. He looks around my office, at the glass walls and the city skyline behind me, as if he is admiring a nice hotel lobby. He thinks this is just a formality. He expects me to smile back, stamp his paper, and hand him a company uniform. He thinks the rules of our childhood still apply today. My mind drifts away from the quiet boardroom. I am suddenly pulled back to the summer it all started. I was 14 years old. The morning sun was already baking the dry pavement in our driveway. My parents were busy packing our silver Honda minivan, but we were not going on a family vacation. They were packing Vance's expensive new hard-shell suitcase. Vance was 16. He stood on the porch wearing a crisp blue polo shirt and new white sneakers. My mother gently fixed his collar. "You are going to do amazing things at this camp, sweetie," she said softly. Her voice was full of pride. Her eyes were bright. My father was checking his watch. "Let's go. We don't want to miss the flight. Huntsville is a long way, and orientation starts tomorrow." Vance was going to a highly elite $2,500 space and engineering camp in Alabama for the entire summer. I stood near the garage holding a brown paper bag. Inside was a peanut butter sandwich and 2 green apples. I was wearing a faded, oversized gray t-shirt. They did not take me to the airport to say goodbye. They dropped me off 10 miles down Route 10, at my Aunt Veda's place. It was called the Desert Star Diner. It was a small, dusty building with a blinking neon sign that was missing the letter R. Aunt Veda was standing outside by the back door, smoking a cigarette in a yellow dress. My mother rolled down the minivan window. She didn't step out. "Be a good girl, Merritt," my mother said. Her voice was totally different now. It was flat and serious. "Work hard for your aunt. It builds character. We will pick you up before school starts in September." The window rolled up. The silver van drove away, leaving a cloud of hot dust behind. I walked into the diner. The smell of old frying oil, raw onions, and cheap bleach hit my face like a heavy wall. Aunt Veda pointed to the kitchen. "Aprons are on the hook. You start on the potatoes." That was it. For the next 9 years, from age 14 to 23, that was my life every single summer. While Vance went to coding camps in California, leadership retreats in Colorado, and a 6-week European history tour in college, I was shipped to Route 10. I worked 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. It was a direct violation of child labor laws, making a 14-year-old work under the table in a dangerous commercial kitchen. But I was never paid a salary. My parents told Aunt Veda that my work was family duty, and that keeping me busy kept me out of trouble. I was 14 when the heavy metal spatula slipped, and popping grease gave me my first scar. I did not cry. I just wrapped it in a paper towel and kept flipping the burgers. Every Friday night, my parents would call the diner's sticky landline phone. They never asked about my burned fingers or my aching back. They called to tell me about Vance. "Merritt, your brother built a working model rocket today. The instructors say he has a true gift," my mother would say, breathless with excitement. I would stand in the hot, greasy kitchen, wiping sweat from my forehead, and reply softly, "That is really nice, Mom." I never complained. I never shouted that it was unfair. That was the quiet rule of our house. We did not fight. We just accepted that Vance got the stars, and I got the grease. Everyone smiled, and everyone pretended this was perfectly normal. I blink my eyes and the memory fades. I am back in 2026. The boardroom is still cool. I look at Vance's job application again. Under previous experience, the lines are completely blank. He clears his throat. "So," Vance says, giving me that same easy smile, "when do I start, little sister?" The quiet in the boardroom stretches on for a few long seconds. Vance's easy smile does not fade, but his eyes dart to the glass door, then back to me. He is waiting for me to laugh, to stand up and to hug him. Instead, I slide his single piece of paper back across the polished table. It stops right in front of his clean hands. "You left the experience section completely blank, Vance," I say. My voice is steady and low. He chuckles. He waves his hand in the air like brushing away a fly. "Come on, Merritt. It is just a cashier job. Ringing up burgers and taking cash. How hard can it possibly be?" Ringing up burgers. Those 3 words hang in the cool air of the room. He says it so easily. To him, my entire life's work is just a simple, silly little task. I was 19 years old. By then, Aunt Veda had stopped coming into the diner most days. Her knees were bad, so she sat in a red booth watching television while I ran everything. I did not just flip burgers anymore. I ordered the bread, I counted the cash register at midnight, I negotiated prices with the tomato suppliers, and I cleaned the deep fryer trap. My hands smelled like old onions even after I washed them 3 times. That summer, I had a plan. I wanted to start classes at the local community college in September, to learn basic business math. But the college was 12 miles away. I needed a car. I had saved $400 in a glass jar under my bed, strictly from the small tips truck drivers left on the counter. I found a used, rusty 1999 Chevy Civic for $800. I just needed $400 more. Just a small loan. My parents drove down to the diner that afternoon. My mother brought a peach pie in a pink box. She set it on the counter with a big, bright smile. "We are so proud of how well you handle things here, Merritt," she said, gently patting my rough, burned hand. I showed my father the picture of the used car on my cheap phone. I explained my plan for college. I asked if they could lend me the $400. I promised to pay them back by December. My father looked down at his coffee cup. He did not look at my face. He stirred his coffee slowly. "We just cannot do it right now, Merritt," he said quietly. I stood there, holding my breath. "Why? It is only $400. My mother sighed. She looked at me with soft, sad eyes, playing the role of a helpless victim. "Vance got an unpaid internship in New York City. It is a very big deal for his future. But the rent for his apartment in Manhattan is $3,000 a month. We had to take out a second loan on our house to pay for his living expenses." She squeezed my hand. "You are so strong, Merritt. You are our survivor. You always figure things out. Vance needs this. You understand, right?" They left the peach pie and drove away. I stood alone in the empty diner. I did not scream. I did not throw plates at the wall. I just went to the back room, put on my heavy yellow rubber gloves, and started scrubbing the grease off the floors. That was the day something inside my chest went completely cold. I realized that in their eyes, Vance's unpaid practice in a shiny city was worth going into debt. But my actual future was not even worth a $400 rusted car. I was just the girl who stayed behind to keep things quiet. I blink, pulling my mind out of the dusty diner and back to my bright, modern corporate office. Vance is shifting in his leather chair. The silence has gone on too long for him. He clears his throat again. "Mom said you were opening 3 new locations this month and needed good people," Vance says. He leans forward, lowering his voice to sound very close and friendly. "I figured I could help you out. You know, keep the money in the family." I look straight into his blue eyes. "Our cash register system requires a strict 3-day training program," I tell him. "A cashier shift is 8 hours long. You get 1 30-minute break. At closing time, you mop the floors and you clean the public bathrooms. Are you ready to do that?" Vance's smile disappears. A tiny wrinkle forms between his eyebrows. He looks at me like I have spoken a foreign language. Merritt, I have a master's degree, he says, sounding slightly insulted. I am not scrubbing public toilets. I meant I could be a manager, or I can just sit at the front desk and greet people. Come on, it is your company. You can just put me wherever I want. He leans back again, crossing his arms. He expects me to apologize. He expects the rules of our childhood to save him. I take a deep breath. The air conditioning hums softly in the background. This is not our parents' living room, Vance, I say softly. And I am not 14 anymore. I slide the piece of paper back to him. I pick up a red pen from my desk. I draw a single straight line through his printed name. Your application is denied, Vance, I say quietly. Vance stares at the red line on the paper. The easy smile completely falls off his face. His cheeks turn slightly pink. He blinks, trying to understand what just happened. Are you joking? He asks. His voice is tight and suddenly a little bit higher. Merritt, I need this. The tech company in San Francisco let me go 3 months ago. I have a $700 car payment. My apartment rent is due in 2 weeks. I look at his left wrist. He is wearing a shiny silver Rolex watch. I look at his shoes. They are custom Italian leather loafers. Sell the watch, I say, keeping my voice very calm. Downgrade the car. You don't understand, Vance says, shaking his head. I can't just lose my lifestyle. Hearing him say I need this brings a sharp, heavy pain to my chest. It pulls my mind away from the clean boardroom and back to the cold winter of 2018. I was 21 years old. It was a freezing Tuesday morning. A few weeks earlier, Aunt Veda had a bad medical emergency. She was moved to a nursing home called Sunview Care Center. I was left completely alone to run the Desert Star Diner. I was working 14 hours a day, sleeping on a small folding bed in the back room to save money on gas. That morning, I went into Aunt Veda's tiny office to look for the bread supplier's phone number. The room smelled like old paper, dusty carpets, and strong peppermint. I opened the bottom drawer of her rusty metal filing cabinet. Under a pile of old menus, I found a thick blue folder. It was labeled Family Arrangements. I opened it. Inside were copies of old bank checks. There were dozens and dozens of them, going all the way back to June 2011, the exact month I was first dropped off at the diner. Every single month, Aunt Veda had written a check for $600. Every check was made out to my father. I turned the page. I found a folded piece of white paper attached to the first check. It was a letter written in my father's neat, careful handwriting. Veda, thank you for taking Merritt every summer, and now full-time. We agree she will work the kitchen and manage the front counter. In exchange, the $600 a month will really help us pay for Vance's private science tutors and his college fund. Merritt does not need to know. It is better this way. I sat down slowly on the dusty carpet of that cold office. The winter air seeped through my thin jeans. I read the letter 3 times. My parents did not send me to the diner to learn hard work. They did not do it to keep me out of trouble. They sold my teenage years. They traded my sweat, my burned hands, my tired back, and my future for $600 a month. And they used my money to buy Vance's success. All those Friday night phone calls, telling me how smart Vance was. All those times they said they could not afford to help me buy a used car for college. It was all a business deal. They were secretly taking the money I was earning with my blood and sweat, and handing it directly to my brother. I sat alone on the floor for an hour. I did not cry. Crying was for people who had hope. Crying was for people who had a family. Instead, a heavy dark stone settled deep inside my stomach. The pain was so sharp I could hardly breathe. I carefully put the folded letter back. I closed the blue folder and put it back in the metal drawer. I walked back into the kitchen, tied my greasy apron around my waist, and turned on the hot grill. That was the exact day the old Merritt died. That was the day I stopped waiting for my parents to love me. That was the day I started building my escape. Vance's voice snaps me back to the present. He is angry now. He leans over the oak table. Mom is going to be very upset about this, Merritt, Vance says softly. He uses the exact same tone he used when we were kids, whenever he wanted to get me in trouble. You know her blood pressure has been high lately. She asked you to help me. Are you really going to break her heart over a stupid job? He is using them as a weapon. He thinks my mother's name is a magic key that will force me to obey. I pick up my glass of ice water and take a slow sip. Mom can call me herself, I say. But my answer is no. This company is called the Copper Pan. I own 100% of it. I built it from nothing. I have 300 employees across the state. Every single one of them started at the bottom and worked hard. You do not get to skip the line just because we share the same parents. Vance stands up quickly. The heavy leather chair pushes back and hits the glass wall of the boardroom with a loud thud. The loud thud of the heavy leather chair hitting the glass wall makes me blink, but I do not jump. I sit perfectly still in my seat. Vance's face is bright red. The polite, easy smile is completely gone. His hands are closed tightly into fists at his sides. He looks down at me, breathing heavily through his nose. "You are making a massive mistake, Merritt," Vance says. His voice is a low, hard whisper. "You have money now. You have power. But you are going to lose your family over this. Mom and Dad will never forgive you." He waits for me to answer. He waits for me to get scared. But the dark, heavy stone that settled in my stomach years ago is still there. It makes me steady. It makes me unbreakable. "The door is behind you, Vance," I say. He grabs his expensive brown leather bag from the floor. He turns around and walks out of the boardroom. The thick glass door closes slowly behind him with a soft click. A minute later, the glass door opens again. A tall man with gray hair and kind, tired eyes walks in. He is wearing a simple blue button-down shirt. His name is Alden Mercer. He is 58 years old, and he is the Chief Operations Officer of the Copper Pan. Alden sits in the exact same chair Vance just left. He puts a yellow folder on the oak table. "Was that him?" Alden asks quietly. I nod. "Yes, that was my brother." Alden does not judge me. He just gives me a small, understanding smile. Alden knows my history. He knows exactly where I came from, because he was there when I started my escape. It was a cold, rainy Tuesday. I was 21 years old. We were sitting in a small, dusty law office on 4th Avenue. Aunt Veda had died peacefully in her sleep a week earlier. My parents and I were sitting in front of Mr. Abernathy, a very old lawyer with thick glasses. Mr. Abernathy opened a brown envelope. He read Aunt Veda's final will. Aunt Veda had felt deeply guilty about the $600 checks she sent to my father every month. She knew my parents were using me. So, in her final days, she made a quiet choice. She did not leave the Desert Star Diner to my father. She left the building, the land, and the business entirely to me. My father's face turned bright purple. He stood up in the small office. "This is a mistake," my father shouted at the lawyer. "That diner is family property. Merritt is just a kid. She does not know how to own real estate. Vance needs his MBA tuition paid by August." My mother grabbed my arm. Her fingers dug tightly into my skin. "Merritt," she said, her voice shaking with panic. "Tell the lawyer you are giving the property to us. We will sell the land for $50,000. Vance needs this money for his business school. You know he is going to be famous one day. You can just get a job at a grocery store." I looked down at my mother's hand squeezing my arm. I remembered the blue folder. I remembered the years of burned fingers, the missed college classes, and the lonely Friday nights wiping dirty tables. I gently pulled my arm away from her grip. "No," I said. My voice was very quiet, but it did not shake. "The paper has my name on it." My mother gasped. She looked at me like I was a monster. "How can you be so incredibly selfish?" she cried. I did not answer her. I stood up, zipped my cheap jacket, and walked out of the law office into the freezing rain. I did not look back. That afternoon, I went to a cheap mobile store and changed my phone number. I packed all my clothes into 2 black garbage bags. 3 weeks later, I sold the diner's land to a gas station company for $65,000. They were aggressive cash buyers looking for an as-is property, which was the only way I could bypass a months-long escrow and close the deal so fast. I packed my bags into a rented truck and drove straight to Phoenix. My exile had officially begun. I cut the invisible ropes that tied me to them. I used my money to buy a rusty, used 2008 Ford step van for $18,000. I spent 2 weeks painting it shiny copper. I named it the Copper Pan. I parked it near the big office buildings downtown, selling fresh, high-quality grilled sandwiches. Alden was the mechanic who fixed my food truck's broken engine that first month. He saw me cooking inside the hot truck for 12 hours a day. He saw me sleeping on a thin mat on the floor of the truck at night to save money on rent. Alden started helping me. He found safe parking spots for the truck. He helped me negotiate with food suppliers. He became the father I never really had. We built the business together. From 1 food truck to 2, then to a small restaurant, then to a national chain. My new team was built on trust, hard work, and loyalty. We did not use each other. We protected each other. I look at Alden sitting across from me in the cool boardroom. "Your mother called the front desk again this morning," Alden says, opening the yellow folder. "She asked the receptionist for 2 VIP passes to our new restaurant grand opening on Friday. She said she wants to come and celebrate her successful, beautiful daughter. I frown. A cold feeling creeps up my neck. For 7 years they never tried to find me. They never cared if I was alive or sleeping on the street. Now, suddenly, Vance is applying for a job, and my mother wants to come to my party. Why now, Alden? I ask softly. People like them do not just show up to say hello. Alden slides a piece of paper from the yellow folder toward me. It is a printed background check. I used my contacts to look into Vance's situation in San Francisco, just like you asked me to, Alden says. His voice is very serious. Merritt, your brother did not just lose his tech job. He is hiding something much bigger, and I think your parents know about it. I look down at the paper. The dots are starting to connect. The quiet life I built for myself is about to be tested. I look down at the printed paper Alden placed on the table. At the very top, there is a bold heading. San Francisco Superior Court. Case number, CV 2026-099. I read the first few lines slowly. My chest tightens. Vance was not laid off because the tech company was shrinking. He was fired because he was caught stealing. The legal document says Vance secretly moved $185,400 from his employer, Nova Tech Solutions, into his personal bank account over the last 2 years. He used the stolen money to pay for his luxury apartment, his Italian shoes, and his expensive weekend trips. He has already been formally charged with embezzlement. This isn't a civil lawsuit anymore. The company and the prosecutors have cornered him. The $185,400 is for a legal restitution plea deal. He has to pay all the money back to the court by August 1st, or he will face serious criminal charges and go to maximum security prison instead of a lighter sentence. There is more, Alden says gently. He points a thick finger at the second page. I flip the paper over. My eyes scan the banking records Alden's private investigator found. To keep Vance out of jail before his court date, someone had to pay a $50,000 legal deposit to a law firm in California. The name on the bank transfer record is Harlan Winslow, my father. Suddenly the room feels very cold. The puzzle pieces snap together perfectly in my mind. My parents did not call me because they are proud of my success. They did not track down my corporate office after 7 years of total silence just to say hello. They called because my father drained his retirement savings to save Vance, and now they are all drowning in massive debt. They saw my face on the cover of Arizona Business Weekly last month. They read the article about my company making $10 million in sales this year. They are coming to my restaurant opening on Friday to ask me for a $185,400. I close the yellow folder. My hands are not shaking. My new life has taught me how to handle panic. I was 24 years old. It was the grand opening of my very first actual restaurant building, not just the food truck. We had signed a 5-year lease for a beautiful space on Main Street. That morning, a meat supplier tried to bully me. A tall man named Mr. Calloway parked his delivery truck behind my restaurant. He demanded $2,000 extra in cash, right on the spot, or he would not give me the beef I needed for our opening day. He looked at my cheap sneakers and my young face. He thought I was just a scared girl. He thought he could squeeze me for easy money. Before I could even speak, Alden stepped right in front of me. "Put the boxes of meat back in your truck, Calloway," Alden said in a low, tough voice. Right behind Alden was Tamsin. Tamsin was 28, a brilliant accountant I had hired 3 months earlier. She held a black clipboard and a printed contract. According to Section 4 of our signed agreement, changing prices on the day of delivery is a breach of contract, Tamsin told the delivery man calmly. "If you do not unload the boxes in 3 minutes, I will call our lawyer, and we will take you to court for lost daily sales." The delivery man looked at Alden's crossed arms. He looked at Tamsin's serious face. He did not say another word. He just unloaded the boxes and drove away. That day, standing in the hot Arizona sun behind my first restaurant, I learned what real loyalty looked like. Alden and Tamsin did not want my money. They did not secretly trade my hard work to benefit someone else. They stood like a strong brick wall between me and the people who wanted to hurt me. We built the Copper Pan together. We worked late nights, covered each other's shifts, and celebrated every small victory. When I was sick with a terrible fever in 2023, Tamsin brought hot chicken soup to my apartment and managed the payroll for me. When Alden's daughter got married, I paid for all the food at her wedding. This was my real team. This was the group of people who earned their place at my table. I look back up at Alden in the cool boardroom. He is watching my face carefully. He knows exactly how much this betrayal hurts, even though I am keeping my face totally blank. "Should I call our building security team?" Alden asks. "I can tell the front desk to block your mother's phone number right now. We can ban Vance and your parents from all our properties. You never have to see them again, Merritt. I can make them go away. It is a very tempting offer. I could just close the door. I could stay safe in my quiet glass office. But I remember the 14-year-old girl standing in the dusty parking lot of the Desert Star Diner. I remember the smell of cheap bleach and the burns on my arms. I remember the $600 checks hidden in Aunt Veda's blue folder. If I run away now, I am still acting like that scared little girl. No, I say softly. I tap my fingers on the smooth oak table. Do not block her number. Alden looks surprised. Merritt, they are going to ambush you on Friday night. The new restaurant will be full of media reporters, food critics, and local politicians. They will use the big crowd to pressure you into giving them the money. I know, I say. I slide the background check back into the yellow folder and hand it to him. Let Mom have the 2 VIP passes for Friday night. Put Vance's name on the guest list too. Alden raises his gray eyebrows, but he nods slowly. What are you planning to do? I look out the large glass window at the bright Phoenix skyline. The sun is reflecting off the tall glass buildings. I am going to let them walk right into my world, Alden, I say quietly. But this time, I am writing the rules. I am standing inside the brand new Copper Pan restaurant in the Arcadia neighborhood. It is our largest location yet. The air smells like fresh white paint, roasted garlic, and expensive cedar wood. In 2 days, the large dining room will be packed with food critics, local politicians, and television reporters. Tamsin, my lead accountant, is standing next to me. She is holding a digital tablet. She wears a neat gray suit, and her dark hair is tied back. We are looking at the digital map of the tables. Table 4 is reserved for the mayor, Tamsin says, tapping her screen. Table 7 is for the local news team, and Table 12 is reserved for your parents and Vance. I look at Table 12. It is a beautiful round table near the large front window. It has a perfect view of the entire room. Make sure they have the best waiter, I say quietly. Tamsin stops tapping her screen. She looks up at me. Her dark eyes are full of concern and protectiveness. Tamsin knows exactly what my parents are capable of. She was the one who uncovered their darkest secret 4 years ago. I was 25 years old. We were trying to open our second restaurant location. I needed a $150,000 commercial bank loan to buy the new ovens and furniture. I sat in Tamsin's small office while she ran a deep check on my personal banking history to prepare the loan papers. Suddenly, Tamsin stopped typing. She stared at her computer screen for a long time. The office was very quiet. Merritt, Tamsin said. Her voice was confused and worried. Why do you have a maxed-out platinum credit card with a $14,200 balance? It has been in debt for 5 years. The bank is about to block your loan application because of it. I froze in my chair. I do not have a credit card, Tamsin. I pay for everything with cash from the business. Tamsin printed out a long stack of papers. She handed them to me. I looked at the top of the page. It was an account from a major national bank. It was opened in July 2017. The billing address was the Desert Star Diner. The name on the account was Merritt Winslow. My parents had falsified my income on the application just to get a massive credit limit. I looked at the charges from 2017. $400. Lamare Hotel, Paris, France. $1,800. Apple Store, Tucson, Arizona. $850. Fine Dining Steakhouse, Manhattan, New York. My hands started to shake. The paper felt heavy, like it was made of lead. In the summer of 2017, Vance went on a 6-week study trip to Europe. My parents told everyone they paid for it by working extra hours at their jobs, but they were lying. Their own credit cards were completely maxed out. So my parents used my social security number. They secretly opened a credit card in my name using the diner's mail address. They funded my brother's luxurious European vacation using my identity. While I was scrubbing grease off the diner's floors in Arizona, eating leftover French fries for dinner, I was secretly paying for Vance to eat expensive steaks in Paris. To keep the bank from completely freezing the account and ruining my credit instantly, they had been secretly making just the bare minimum monthly payments for 5 years, keeping the balance fully maxed out and hidden. They did not just take the $600 a month from Aunt Vita. They actually stole my financial future to make Vance's life perfect. I dropped the papers on Tamsin's desk. I could not breathe. My chest felt tight. I put my face in my hands. I did not cry, but a silent, painful scream echoed deep inside my head. The betrayal was so heavy it felt like a building had fallen on top of me. Alden walked into the office a few minutes later. He saw the papers. He saw my face. He did not give me a pitying look. He did not offer empty apologies. He placed a cup of hot tea on the desk. Okay, Alden said in a strong, steady voice. We can call the police right now and file an identity theft report. Your parents will go to jail. Or, we can use the business profits, pay off the $14 today, close the card forever, and get your bank loan approved tomorrow by having the branch manager manually override the debt history. I looked at Alden. I looked at Tamsin. They were not using me. They were standing beside me, helping me clean up a mess they did not create. They were my real family. Pay it, I whispered. Pay it off and close it. I want them completely out of my system. I never want to owe them anything. Tamsin paid the debt that afternoon. My credit score was saved, and we got the loan. But I kept the printed bank statements. I locked them in a safe. I take a deep breath, letting the memory fade away. The smell of fresh paint and garlic fills my nose again. Tamsin touches my arm gently, bringing me back to the present moment. Merritt, Tamsin says softly. I have the folder ready, the credit card papers from 2017, and the new legal papers Alden found about Vance stealing the $185,400 from his tech company. I nod slowly. I look at table 12 again. My parents are coming on Friday to beg me for money. They think they can manipulate me with fake smiles and sweet words, just like they did when I was a teenager. They think I am still the quiet girl in the dusty diner who will silently take the pain so Vance can look like a star. They have no idea that I know their secrets. They have no idea that they are walking straight into a trap. Put the folder in the main office, Tamsin, I say calmly. Let's finish the table arrangements. Friday is going to be a very busy night. The new kitchen is perfectly clean. The stainless steel tables shine brightly under the white lights. I am standing at the main prep station. I am chopping white onions with a heavy, sharp chef's knife. Chop, chop, chop. The sharp smell of raw onions fills the air. It is the exact same smell from the dusty kitchen of the Desert Star Diner. But today, my hands do not hurt. Today, I am cutting vegetables because I want to test a new recipe, not because I am forced to. My phone buzzes on the metal table. The screen lights up. It is a text message from my mother. So excited for tomorrow, sweetheart. Dad bought a new blue suit just for your big night. Vance is coming too. We are all so incredibly proud of you. See you at 7 p.m. Love you. I stop the knife. I stare at the bright screen. Proud of you. Those 3 words look completely fake on my screen. My parents never used those words for me. They saved those words for a very specific person. I was 21 years old. It was a warm Saturday evening. Vance had just graduated from college. My parents threw a huge party in their backyard. There were 50 guests. Neighbors, cousins, and my parents' friends filled the green grass. I was not invited as a guest. My mother had called me at the diner 2 days before. She told me to cook 40 beef sliders and 3 large bowls of potato salad, and to bring them to the house. I arrived at 6 p.m. wearing my grease-stained diner uniform. I carried the heavy aluminum trays through the back gate. The backyard was decorated with blue and gold balloons. Everyone was wearing nice summer dresses and clean polo shirts. I set the hot food on the long picnic table. No one said hello to me. I stood quietly near the brick wall by the garden hose, watching the party. Uncle Orson raised his glass of cold beer. He smiled at my father. Harlan, you and Blythe did a wonderful job, Uncle Orson said loudly, paying for that expensive private college out of your own pockets. You sacrificed so much for Vance. You are amazing parents. My father smiled brightly. He put his arm around my mother. Thank you, Orson, my father said. It was hard work, but Vance's future is worth every penny. I stood by the wall, holding an empty aluminum tray. My hands were burned from the hot grill. My back ached from standing for 12 hours. I knew the truth. I knew about the $600 monthly checks. I knew my father did not pay for Vance's college with his own hard work. He paid for it with my teenage years. But nobody else knew. The neighbors clapped. The family cheered. They all believed the beautiful, perfect story my parents created. They were all silent actors in my parents' play. They clapped for the lie, and they completely ignored the girl standing in the dirty apron. Then, Vance stood up on a wooden chair. He held a glass of champagne. He looked handsome in his crisp white shirt. I just want to say thank you to my amazing parents, Vance said smoothly. I could never have done this without your endless financial support and your love. He did not look at me. He just drank his champagne. I quietly walked out the back gate, got into my old car, and drove back to the diner to wash the dishes. I wipe a small tear from my eye, but it is only from the strong, stinging smell of the chopped onions. I put the phone back into my pocket. Alden walks into the kitchen. He is holding a small white ceramic cup of black coffee. He looks at the pile of onions on my cutting board. You do not have to prep the vegetables yourself, Merritt, Alden says gently. We have a team of 12 professional chefs arriving in 1 hour. I know, I say, scraping the onions into a large steel bowl. It just helps me think. Alden leans against the metal counter. He takes a sip of his coffee. Are you ready for tomorrow night? The food critics will arrive early. The news cameras will be everywhere. I wash my hands in the deep sink. I dry them with a clean white towel. I look at the faded crescent moon scar near my left thumb. I am ready, I say softly. Alden puts his coffee cup down. He looks at me with his kind, tired eyes. Merritt, if they try to cause a scene tomorrow, Tamsin and I will step right in. You do not have to fight them alone. I smile softly at him. The feeling in my chest is warm. I know I am not alone, Alden, I tell him. That is exactly why I am not afraid. Alden nods. He understands. We walk out of the kitchen together, checking the bright, beautiful dining room one last time. The large glass windows are perfectly clean. The wooden floors shine. Everything is perfectly set. Tomorrow night, my parents will walk into my world wearing their new suits and their fake smiles. They will try to play their old game. They will try to use me to save Vance one more time. But the rules have completely changed. The trap is waiting, and the quiet girl in the grease-stained shirt is gone forever. The dining room of the new Copper Pan restaurant is buzzing with loud, happy energy. Soft jazz music plays from the ceiling speakers. Waiters in neat black uniforms carry silver trays filled with miniature crab cakes and cold drinks. The air smells like roasted rosemary, fresh lemon, and success. I am standing near the front bar. I am not wearing a grease-stained apron or an oversized t-shirt. I am wearing a sharp, tailored charcoal suit. My hair is neatly styled. I am smiling as I shake hands with the mayor of Phoenix. Then, the heavy glass front doors open. My parents walk inside. Vance is walking right behind them. I stop talking to the mayor. I watch them from across the room. My mother, Blythe, is wearing a bright, expensive-looking yellow dress. She is looking around the large, beautiful restaurant. Her eyes move quickly, counting the expensive glass lights, the rich wooden tables, and the local television cameras in the corner. She is calculating the wealth of the room. My father, Harlan, is wearing his brand new blue suit. He stands up very straight and adjusts his silk tie. He wants everyone to think he belongs here. Vance looks completely different. He is wearing a nice gray jacket, but his shoulders are slightly bent. He is sweating, even though the air conditioning is on high. He keeps checking his phone. His silver Rolex watch shines under the lights, but his hands are shaking just a little bit. I take a slow, deep breath. I walk across the shiny wooden floor toward table 12. My mother sees me coming. Her eyes light up. She opens her arms wide, right in front of a table full of local food reporters. Merritt, my beautiful darling, my mother says loudly. She pulls me into a tight hug. She smells like heavy floral perfume and strong hairspray. I stand perfectly still. I let her hug me, but I do not put my arms around her back. My mind flashes back, just for a second. I was 18 years old. It was Christmas Eve. I had just worked a 12-hour shift at the diner. Aunt Veda had a lot of holiday customers, and the dishwasher broke. I had to wash hundreds of plates by hand in dirty, soapy water. When I finally drove my cheap car to my parents' house, I was exhausted. I walked through the front door. Vance was sitting on the sofa, holding a letter. He had just scored perfectly on his college entry tests. My mother was kissing his cheek, crying happy tears. I walked into the living room to say Merry Christmas. My mother turned around. She smelled the old cooking grease and the bleach on my clothes. She did not hug me. She pinched her nose, took a step back, and pointed to the hallway. Merritt, please go take a shower right now, she said sharply. You are going to make the new sofa smell like a cheap kitchen. My mother lets go of the hug. She smiles a huge bright smile for the people watching us. Look at this amazing place, my father says. He speaks very loudly so the reporters at the next table can hear him. He pats my shoulder. We always knew you had a fantastic work ethic, Merritt. We taught you the value of hard work when you were just a young girl. We are so proud to be your parents. He is claiming my success. He is telling the world that my pain was actually his brilliant parenting. I look at his hand on my shoulder. Then I look at Vance. Vance is staring at the floor, biting the inside of his cheek. Thank you, I say. My voice is very polite and completely flat. I hope you enjoy the food tonight. My mother leans in closer. The fake, bright smile stays on her lips, but her eyes become very sharp and serious. She touches my arm gently. Merritt, sweetheart, my mother whispers. Can we go somewhere quiet? Just family? Your father and I need to talk to you about a tiny little bump in the road. It will only take 5 minutes. Of course, I say softly. I turn around. I lead them away from the bright lights, the reporters, and the soft jazz music. We walk down a quiet hallway. The walls are covered with framed newspaper articles about my business. Vance looks at the articles, and his face turns a little pale. We reach the heavy oak door at the end of the hall. It is my private office. I open the door and let them walk in first. The office is large and cool. There is a massive wooden desk, a leather sofa, and a huge window showing the city lights. They walk to the center of the room. I walk behind my desk. I do not tell them to sit down. I just stand there, resting my hands flat on the smooth wood. The heavy oak door clicks shut behind them. The noise of the party completely disappears. It is perfectly quiet. The trap is now closed. My father clears his throat. He tries to stand tall, trying to look like a powerful businessman. Merritt, my father begins, using a deep, serious voice. Your brother is having a slight misunderstanding with his old boss in California. It is a silly legal mistake, but the lawyers are being very difficult. We need a small temporary loan to make this silly problem go away, just until Vance gets his new job. He smiles at me, waiting for me to nod. He expects me to open my checkbook. I look at my father. I look at my mother. I look at Vance. How much is the loan, Dad? I ask quietly. My father shifts his feet. He looks at my mother for help. My mother steps forward, giving me that sweet, loving smile again. It is just a drop in the bucket for a successful girl like you, Merritt. My mother says softly. We need $185,000. The number hangs in the cool air of my office. $185,000. I do not blink. I do not shout. I look at my mother's expensive yellow dress and my father's new blue suit. $185,000. I repeat slowly. My voice is perfectly calm and flat. Yes, my father says quickly. He waves his hand in the air like it is a very small, unimportant issue. Vance's old boss is just very jealous of his talent. It is a silly paperwork problem. Once we pay this cash deposit as restitution for a misunderstanding, Vance can move on and start his new job as a senior manager. It is just a tiny bump in the road. I look at Vance. He is standing behind my parents. His hands are still shaking. He is staring at the floor. He cannot look me in the eyes. Is that true, Vance? I ask quietly. Is it just a silly paperwork problem? Vance opens his mouth to speak, but my mother quickly steps in front of him. She shields him with her body, treating a 30-year-old man like a fragile glass doll. My mind suddenly pulls me back to a hot, painful night in the diner kitchen. I was 17 years old. I was washing heavy dishes at the Desert Star Diner. A large glass water pitcher slipped from my soapy hands. It crashed into the metal sink. A sharp, thick piece of broken glass sliced deeply into my right arm. Blood poured down my skin instantly, dripping onto the dirty floor. I wrapped a rough white kitchen towel tightly around my arm, pressing hard to stop the bleeding. I was terrified. I used the sticky wall phone to call my parents. My mother answered on the second ring. Mom, I cut my arm really badly, I said. My voice was shaking with fear. I think I need stitches. Can you or Dad come take me to the hospital? There was a long pause on the phone. I could hear Vance laughing at a television show in the background. Oh, Merritt, we really cannot right now, my mother sighed. She sounded very annoyed. Vance has his final college prep test tomorrow morning. The house needs to be perfectly quiet so he can sleep and relax. Just put some ice and a tight bandage on it. You are a tough girl. She hung up the phone. I stood alone in the empty kitchen, holding my bleeding arm. I locked the diner, walked half a mile to the dark bus stop, and took the city bus to Tucson Medical Center. I sat in the cold waiting room for 4 hours alone. The doctor gave me 6 stitches. I paid the $150 medical bill using crinkled $1 bills straight from my plastic tip jar. My parents could not give me a ride to the hospital, and they could not give me $150 for my bleeding arm. But now, they expect me to give them $185 and $400 to save Vance. I am back in my cool, quiet office. I look at my mother's hopeful, smiling face. I open the top drawer of my heavy wooden desk. I pull out the thick yellow folder that Tamsin gave me. I place it flat on the desk. A mistake is dropping a glass, I say quietly. Stealing $185,000 from Novatech Solutions is a major crime. The quiet room suddenly feels completely dead. My father's fake smile drops instantly. His mouth opens slightly. My mother takes a step back, her eyes wide with total shock. Vance's face turns as white as a piece of paper. He finally looks up at me, his eyes full of pure fear. I open the yellow folder. I turn the printed paper around so they can read it. San Francisco Superior Court, I read aloud. Case number CV 2026-99. Vance is facing serious criminal charges for moving company money into his personal bank account to buy luxury items. And Dad, I also know you already paid the $50,000 legal deposit to the lawyers to keep him out of a jail cell. My father's face turns dark red. The friendly, proud father is completely gone. He steps toward my desk. His body language is hard and angry. How did you get this information? My father demands. His voice is loud and mean. Are you secretly spying on your own family? That is disgusting, Merritt. I do not move back. I stand my ground. I own a massive business, Dad. I tell him calmly. I protect my company. When someone comes to me asking for money, my finance team checks their background. My team found the truth in 10 minutes. Vance finally speaks. His voice is cracking. Merritt, I am sorry, okay? I messed up. I just wanted to keep up with my friends in the city. They all had nice things. I panicked. Please, you have millions of dollars. This amount is nothing for you. He sounds like a little boy who broke a window, not a grown man facing federal prison. I look at his expensive Italian leather shoes. I look at his shiny silver watch. You did not panic, Vance, I say softly. You stole money for 2 years. That is a choice. Every single day, you woke up and made the clear choice to take something that did not belong to you. My mother starts to cry. Real tears this time. She grabs the edge of my desk. Merritt, please, my mother begs, her voice shaking. If Vance does not pay the money back to the court as restitution by August 1st, the judge will reject his plea deal, and he will go to a maximum security prison. His life will be completely ruined. He has a master's degree. He cannot survive in a place like that. You have to save him. She reaches her hand across the desk to touch my arm. She reaches for the exact same arm that still has the small white scar from the 6 stitches. I pull my arm back slowly. I do not let her touch me. My father slams his hand flat on the wooden desk. The loud smack echoes in the quiet room. Stop talking to your brother like that, my father shouts. Family helps family. We took care of you for 18 years. We fed you and gave you a home. You owe us this money. You owe us this. The words hang in the air. This is the exact moment. The tension in the room is about to break, and the final puzzle pieces are ready to fall. The loud sound of my father's hand hitting the wooden desk echoes off the glass walls. Then, the room goes completely, perfectly quiet. You owe us this money. I look at his angry face. I look at his expensive new blue suit. I do not shout back. I do not cry. Instead, I reach down and pull a small silver key from my pocket. I unlock the bottom drawer of my desk. I reach inside and pull out a very old, dusty blue folder. It is the exact same folder I found in Aunt Veda's rusty filing cabinet back in November 2018. Then, I reach into the drawer again. I pull out a clean white envelope. It holds the bank papers Tamsin found for me in October 2022. I place both items flat on the smooth oak wood. You say I owe you, Dad, I say. My voice is very soft, almost like a whisper. Let's do some simple math. I am very good at business math now. I open the blue folder. I slide it across the desk toward him. My father looks down. He sees the thick stack of copied bank checks. He sees the old, folded piece of white paper attached to the top. It is his own handwritten letter from 2011. Veda, thank you for taking Merritt every summer, and now full-time. We agree she will work the kitchen and manage the front counter. In exchange, the $600 a month will really help us pay for Vance's private science tutors and his college fund. Merritt does not need to know. It is better this way. My father freezes. His mouth stays slightly open, but no words come out. All the angry hot color completely drains from his face. He suddenly looks very small and very old. Aunt Veda paid you $600 every single month for my labor, I tell him. I point my finger at the dates on the checks. From June 2011 until she died in December 2018. That is 90 months. 90 months of me standing over a hot grill, burning my hands, missing school dances and scrubbing dirty floors. That equals exactly $54,000. I look straight into his terrified eyes. You sold my teenage years for $54,000, Dad. And you gave every single penny to Vance. My mother gasps. She covers her mouth with both hands. Her bright yellow dress suddenly looks foolish in this dark, heavy moment. But you did not stop there, did you, Mom? I say. I open the clean white envelope. I pull out the thick stack of credit card statements from 2017. I slide them across the desk until they touch my mother's shaking hands. You said family helps family, I say calmly. Look at the name on that paper, Mom. Look at the date. My mother looks down. Her eyes are wide with panic. She sees the name Merritt Winslow. She sees the total debt, $14,200. She sees the list of charges from Paris and New York. In July 2017, you stole my social security number, I say. The heavy, cold stone in my chest finally starts to break open. For the first time in 10 years, my voice shakes just a tiny bit. The raw, deep pain of the betrayal spills into the room. I was 20 years old. I was sleeping on a folding bed in the back room of the diner because I could not afford gas for my car. And you were using my name to buy Vance's expensive steaks in Manhattan and hotel rooms in France. Vance steps forward. He looks at the papers on the desk. He looks at the $600 checks. He looks at the fraudulent credit card statements. Mom? Vance whispers. His voice is totally broken. He looks at his mother and father like they are strangers. You told me you worked overtime to pay for my Europe trip. You told me my college tutors were paid by Dad's bonus. Did you steal from Merritt to pay for my life? My parents do not answer him. They cannot look at him. They just stare at the solid proof of their lies resting on my beautiful wooden desk. The perfect shiny mask of their happy family is completely shattered into a million pieces. So, let's add it all up, I say, tapping my finger on the desk. $54,000 from the diner. $14,200 from the stolen credit card. That is $68,200. I look at my father. He is holding onto the edge of the desk so he does not fall over. You did not take care of me, Dad, I tell him. My voice is strong and clear again. I took care of him. My burned hands, my sweat, and my stolen identity built his entire perfect life. I was the one paying for his private camps. I was the one paying for his European vacations. I bought his success with my blood. I point at Vance. Vance shrinks back, pressing his shoulders against the heavy oak door. And look what he did with all that stolen money, I say softly. He grew up, got a great job in San Francisco, and became a thief anyway. The silence in the room is heavy and suffocating. No one is shouting anymore. The truth is finally out in the open, shining under the bright lights of my office. My mother starts to cry again. Her tears ruin her perfect makeup. She reaches out her hands toward me, completely desperate. Merritt, please, she sobs. We were wrong. We made terrible mistakes. We were just trying to give Vance a chance. But if you do not pay the court in California, he will go to prison. They will lock him in a cage. Please, Merritt, you have millions. Just write the check. We will never ask you for anything ever again. She is begging me to save the boy who broke my heart, using the money I made from my own pain. I look down at the papers on my desk. Everything I ever wanted to say to them is finally done. The tension in my body starts to fade away, leaving only total clarity. The final choice is here. The heavy silence in my office stretches out. Only the soft hum of the air conditioning makes a sound. My mother is still leaning over my large wooden desk. Her tears are falling fast now, landing right on the smooth oak wood. She looks at me with wide, desperate eyes. She expects me to break. She expects the guilt to crush me, just like it always did when I was a teenager. I look at her hands. I look at my father's angry, sweating face. Then, I look at Vance, who is still pressing his back against the heavy door, staring at the floor. I slowly reach out. I close the old blue folder. I slide the credit card statements back into the clean white envelope. I place them both back into the bottom drawer of my desk. Click. I turn the small silver key. I take the key out and put it inside my jacket pocket. No, I say. Just one simple word. It falls into the quiet room like a heavy stone dropping into a deep lake. My mother stops crying for a second. She blinks, completely confused. What? She whispers. I am not giving you a single penny, I say. My voice is perfectly steady. It is not angry. It is just a solid, unbreakable fact. If I pay $185,000 to buy his plea deal and fix his crime, I am just teaching him that stealing has no consequences. He stole money from his company, just like you stole money and time from me. You are all a perfect match, but I am not part of your game anymore. My father's face turns from dark red to a deep, dangerous purple. The sadness and the begging completely disappear. His true face comes back. He points a thick finger right at my nose. You ungrateful little brat. My father spits out the words. His voice is a hard, sharp whisper. You think you are so powerful sitting behind this fancy desk. You think your money makes you better than us? We are your parents. There is a room full of news reporters and important politicians right outside that door. He takes a step closer to my desk. He thinks he has found my weak spot. He thinks he can use my own success as a weapon against me. If you do not write that check right now, Merritt, my father threatens, his eyes looking wild, I am going to walk out that door. I will walk right into the middle of your fancy dining room. I will shout to the television cameras that you are a horrible, selfish daughter who is letting her own brother rot in a jail cell. I will tell them you abandoned your family. I will ruin your grand opening. I will destroy your public reputation tonight." He smiles a very ugly, mean smile. He thinks he has won. He thinks I am still the 14-year-old girl who will stay quiet to keep the peace. He thinks I will pay the money just to avoid a public embarrassment. I do not look away from his angry eyes. I slowly reach across my desk. I pick up my small black office phone. I press one single button. The green speakerphone light turns on. "Alden," I say calmly into the open air of the room. Alden's deep, steady voice answers immediately through the speaker. "Yes, Merritt. I am standing right outside your office door. Tamsin is with me, and we have 4 of our building security guards ready." My father freezes. The ugly smile completely falls off his face. His hand drops slowly to his side. "Dad," I tell him, keeping my voice completely cold and flat. "If you walk out that door and make a single sound, Alden will have the guards grab you. They will drag you out through the dirty back alley. And if you try to fight them, Tamsin has the Phoenix police on speed dial. You will be arrested for trespassing. The local news cameras will not record my ruined party. They will record you and Mom sitting in the back of a police car in your brand new clothes. Do you really want to play this game with me in my own building?" My father stares at the black phone. The fight completely leaves his body. His shoulders drop. His chest deflates. He suddenly realizes he has absolutely no power here. This is my building. This is my team. This is my world. And I am the one holding all the keys. Suddenly, Vance pushes himself away from the heavy oak door. He walks toward my parents. "Stop it, Dad," Vance says. His voice is cracking. Tears are finally falling down his own face. He looks at my father, and then he looks at me. "Just stop it. Merritt is right. She owes us nothing." My mother turns to Vance, panicking. "Vance, sweetie, no. We can fix this. We just have to make her understand." "Understand what, Mom?" Vance shouts. His voice echoes loudly against the glass window. "That you ruined her life so I could go to space camp. That you stole her identity so I could eat steak in New York? Look at me. Look at what you turned me into. I am a thief. I am a criminal. You did not help me. You completely destroyed me." My mother covers her face with her hands and begins to sob loudly. Her body shakes. She finally realizes that her golden child is broken, and she is the one who broke him. Vance turns to look at me. His blue eyes are red and swollen. For the first time in my entire life, he does not look at me with that easy, perfect smile. He looks at me with deep, real shame. "I am going to call my lawyer tomorrow," Vance says quietly, wiping his face with his expensive sleeve. "I am going to plead guilty to the court in San Francisco. I will take the punishment. I will go to prison. It is my fault." He takes a deep breath. "I am so sorry, Merritt, for the diner, for the credit card, for everything. I know saying sorry does not fix a single thing, but I am sorry." I look at my brother. I see the little boy who used to play in the yard before the camps and the expensive gifts changed him. I do not feel anger toward him anymore. I just feel a quiet, empty sadness. But I also know that letting him face the real world is the only way he will ever actually grow up. "Goodbye, Vance," I say softly. "Good luck." Vance nods slowly. He turns around. He opens the heavy oak door. The soft jazz music from the party drifts into the office. Alden and the large security guards are standing right there in the hallway, watching closely. Vance walks out. My mother and father stand in the middle of my office for a few more seconds. They look at me, hoping for one last piece of mercy, hoping I will change my mind. I just stand behind my desk, perfectly still. I have drawn my final line in the sand. My father takes my crying mother's arm. They turn around and walk out the door, following Vance down the hallway. Alden steps into the doorway. He looks at my parents walking away. Then he looks at me. "Are you okay, Merritt?" Alden asks gently. I look around my beautiful, quiet office. I touch the smooth wood of my desk. The heavy, dark stone that has been sitting in my stomach for 9 years is completely gone. I take a deep breath of the cool, clean air. "Yes, Alden," I say, smiling a real, genuine smile. "I am perfectly fine. Let's go join the party." I walk out of my cool, quiet office. Alden is walking right beside me. We step back into the bright, beautiful dining room of the new Copper Pan restaurant. The soft jazz music is playing from the ceiling. Waiters are laughing as they carry silver trays. Customers are talking happily, their water glasses clinking. The air smells like sweet roasted garlic, fresh lemon juice, and hot melted butter. I look toward the large glass front doors. Through the clear glass, I watch 3 figures walking away into the dark parking lot. My father is walking fast, his head looking down at the pavement. My mother is holding a white tissue to her face. Vance is walking behind them, his shoulders hunched over, moving slow and quiet. They get into my father's car, and the red taillights disappear into the busy Phoenix traffic. For 15 years, from the hot summer of 2011 to this exact night, those 3 people were a heavy, painful weight tied around my neck. Now the rope is finally cut. The mayor of Phoenix walks up to me. He is holding a glass of sparkling water. "Merritt," the mayor says with a big friendly smile, "your food is absolutely incredible tonight. This place is going to be the most famous restaurant in all of Arizona." I smile back at him. It is not a polite, fake smile. It is a real, deep smile that reaches all the way to my eyes. "Thank you, Mr. Mayor," I say easily, feeling completely light. We built it from the ground up. It has been exactly 6 weeks since the grand opening party. The morning sun is bright and warm, shining perfectly through the large windows of my main office. The new restaurant is doing amazing. We have a long line of happy customers waiting outside the door every single day at lunchtime. I am sitting at my smooth oak desk. I am drinking a hot cup of black coffee. The office is very peaceful. There is a soft knock on the heavy wooden door. Tamsin walks in. She is wearing a neat dark blue suit. She holds a digital tablet in her hands. She does not look worried today. She looks calm and relaxed. "Good morning, Merritt," Tamsin says, sitting in the heavy leather chair across from me. "Good morning, Tamsin," I reply. "Are the payroll checks ready for this week?" "Yes, all done," Tamsin says. She taps her tablet screen once. She slides the tablet across the smooth desk toward me. "But I thought you might want to see this first. It is from the San Francisco Public Court records. The court date was August 1st. I put down my coffee cup. I look at the bright screen. It is a short legal update for case number CV 2026-099. I read the words slowly. Vance did exactly what he promised to do in my office 6 weeks ago. He did not run away. He did not let my parents take out another illegal bank loan to save him. He stood in front of a serious judge in California, and he pled guilty to stealing the $185 and $400. Because he took full responsibility, and because he returned the expensive car and the silver watch he bought with the stolen money, the judge gave him a slightly lighter sentence. He is going to spend 3 years in a minimum security prison in California. I stare at his name on the screen. I do not feel happy that my brother is in a prison cell. I do not feel like celebrating his failure. But for the very first time in my entire life, I feel a tiny bit of respect for him. He finally faced the real world. He finally paid the price for his own mistakes, instead of quietly watching me pay for them. "What about your parents?" Tamsin asks quietly. I slide the digital tablet back to her. "Alden's private investigator sent me a small update yesterday," I tell her. "My dad had to sell their big, beautiful house in Tucson. They used the house money to pay off the $50,000 legal deposit and their maxed-out credit cards. They moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment near the highway. My dad is working extra night shifts at his job to afford the rent. My phone has been completely quiet for 6 weeks. My parents have not called me. They have not sent a single text message. They know the old scared Merritt is gone forever. They know the door is closed, and the free money is gone." Tamsin nods. She stands up and picks up her tablet. "Okay," she says softly. "I will go finish the morning paperwork." I walk out of my office and go downstairs into the main test kitchen. The massive kitchen is shining and spotless. The giant steel ovens are already hot, humming perfectly. Alden is standing at the large metal prep table. He is wearing a clean white chef's coat. He has a big wooden crate full of fresh, bright red tomatoes from a local Arizona farm. "Merritt," Alden says. His tired eyes light up when he sees me. "Come look at these. They just arrived from the farm. They are perfect for the new pasta sauce recipe." I walk over to the heavy metal table. I pick up one of the tomatoes. It is heavy, cool, and smells like fresh dirt and green leaves. Alden passes me a small, sharp paring knife with a black handle. "Do you want to do the first cut?" he asks. I take the knife. I look down at my own hands. I look at the rough, tough skin on my knuckles. I look at the small, flat burn mark on my right wrist from the hot grease. I look at the faded white crescent moon scar near my left thumb from the broken glass at the old diner. When I was a teenager, I used to hate these hands. I used to hide them inside my big pockets. I thought these deep scars were a sign that I was unloved, unwanted, and totally broken. But today, standing in the middle of my $1,000,000 kitchen, surrounded by my loyal team and the smell of fresh food, I see the real truth. These hands built a massive empire. Every burn, every cut, and every tired, aching muscle was a solid brick in the strong, beautiful house I live in today. My parents thought they were punishing me by shipping me off to flip burgers. They thought they were throwing my life away so Vance could touch the stars. But all that hard work, all that lonely suffering, it made me completely unbreakable. It taught me how to survive anything the world throws at me. I place the bright red tomato on the clean wooden cutting board. I look up at Alden. He is watching me patiently, holding a clean steel bowl. Tamsin walks into the kitchen carrying a stack of fresh paper menus, laughing out loud at a joke one of the young waiters just told her. I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I am completely safe. I hold the sharp knife steady in my scarred hand, and I make the perfect first cut. That is my true story. 9 painful summers, a stolen identity, and a multi-million-dollar restaurant empire built from scratch. If my journey reminded you of the times you had to walk away from toxic ties to finally recognize your own worth, tell me about your experience in the comments. I read every single one of them. Share this video with anyone who needs the strength to stop serving others and start building their own table. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.